A woman and Christian president of Iraq? Yeah, give it a couple more centuries.
Asil al-Banna has always been bright and optimistic, but unlike her positive personality, many of her childhood memories were scarred by the dark clouds of war.
I was very determined I needed to get away. I just couldn't see any future for myself.
She and her family fled Baghdad in 1991 to escape what seemed like endless fighting. She was 10 years old when the nearly decade-long Iran-Iraq war started, and 19 when U.S. troops launched Operation Desert Storm. After a month seeking refuge in Jordan, she convinced her dad to take her to a country she'd always dreamed of visiting.
I begged my father. I said, Dad, please, let's just go to the American embassy. Let's just try. It was like a dream to me, liberty and freedom of expression. I didn't grow up with that, so I really wanted it.
She and her father had round-trip tickets to visit relatives in Kentucky, but her aunt had other plans for Asil, and they didn't include returning to the dictatorial rule of Saddam Hussein.
She told my father, this girl I will never ever let her leave back with you. My father was like, what are you talking about? She's my daughter.
Asil's aunt helped her get into the University of Kentucky's architecture program. She graduated, started working in design, and has flourished in the U.S. ever since, feeling more American as time went by.
Being Iraqi, it's who I am, who I've been. Being American, on the other hand, is who I became, who I grew into.
And recently, on the 222nd anniversary of the U.S. Bill of Rights, she took the oath and became an American citizen, surrounded by our founding documents at the National Archives in Washington, D.C.
This country is wonderful in opening its doors to immigrants. And very often you come and you rush through the process. For me, it was more of a growing experience. And so today it was more like I'm sealing the deal.
She still cares deeply for her native Iraq and its people, but her hopes have dimmed on an issue that hits close to home: the growing persecution of Christians in the Middle East.
Honestly, I don't see a future. I think it doesn't look good.
Asil is an Iraqi Christian, home to one of the world's oldest Christian populations.
It's considered a very honest and fair community, and they gave a lot to Iraq, to the country.
But after the Iraq War began, Christians became an easy target, frequently persecuted, tortured, or killed. In the last 10 years, of the more than 1 million Christians who once called Iraq home, only about a third are left, with more fleeing daily.
There's just no doubt that ancient and historic Christian communities are threatened as never before.
The situation is essentially the same in Syria and in Egypt, where civil unrest is making it nearly impossible for once ancient Christian communities to survive. As a new American citizen, Asil has high hopes for the country she now calls home, and plans to take full advantage of the rights and freedoms she never knew in Iraq, like voting. This spring, she intends to cast her very first ballot for a fellow Iraqi who's running for office in Washington, D.C., a scenario she understands is unique to the American experience.
This doesn't happen in many countries, but it definitely happens in the United States. It just gave me this hope, like you can do anything you want. You can be anyone you want to be. And that's what's so beautiful about this country.
John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.